The old oak tree in the front yard looked smaller than Benjamin remembered as he and Lucas parked the car in front of their childhood home in rural Ohio. 2 decades after their father had thrown them out with the words, "No son of mine is a fag." The gay twins were back, and the truth they brought with them would force their family to question everything they believed. But the memory of that night in 2025 still burned fresh. They had stood in the same living room, 18 years old and trembling, finally saying the words they had rehearsed for months. Dad, Mom, we're gay. Both of us. Their father's face had twisted in rage, his fist slamming the table so hard the family photos rattled. Their mother had covered her mouth, tears spilling instantly, while their older sister Sarah stared in stunned silence. "Get out!" their father had roared. "Pack your things and never come back. I won't have that filth in my house." By midnight the twins were on the sidewalk with 2 duffel bags, $100 between them, and the weight of rejection crushing their chests. Benjamin, always the bolder one, wiped his eyes and gripped Lucas's shoulder. "We don't need them. We've got each other." Lucas, quieter and more sensitive, nodded though his voice cracked. "What now?" They caught the last bus to New York City, the lights of the highway blurring through tears. The first weeks were brutal. They slept on friends' couches, then in a crowded shelter, taking any job that paid cash. Washing dishes, stocking shelves, delivering food on bikes through pouring rain. Discrimination stung in small ways. Landlords who suddenly had no vacancies. Co-workers who muttered slurs behind their backs. Yet every night the twins sat on the fire escape of their tiny shared room, talking until dawn. Benjamin dreamed of college. Lucas sketched designs on napkins, both refusing to let the pain define them. One rainy afternoon Benjamin landed a paid internship at a small marketing firm after lying about his age and experience. Lucas found work at a photography studio sweeping floors and learning the trade on the side. They were exhausted, hungry most days, but alive with purpose. The brotherhood that had once felt like a cage now became their lifeline. When Lucas broke down one night after a customer refused service upon learning he was gay, Benjamin held him and whispered, "We're building something better. One day they'll see." The city swallowed them whole, harsh and unforgiving, yet it also offered the first glimpses of freedom they had never known in Ohio. Years blurred into a rhythm of survival and quiet victories. By 23 the twins had their own cramped but real apartment in Brooklyn. Benjamin had finished community college at night and landed a junior position at a mid-sized advertising agency. Lucas had apprenticed his way into freelance photography, his portfolio filling with raw city portraits that captured the same resilience he felt inside. They still called each other every evening even when work kept them apart, checking in like lifelines. The pain of disownment had dulled but never vanished. Birthdays and holidays passed in silence from Ohio. No cards, no calls. Benjamin met Michael at a networking event. Tall, kind-eyed, a graphic designer who listened without judgment when Benjamin finally shared the story of their expulsion. Their connection grew slowly through coffee dates and long walks along the High Line, never rushed, always respectful. Michael taught Benjamin that love did not have to be hidden. Lucas, meanwhile, threw himself into his art, winning a small gallery show that paid enough to upgrade their equipment. Yet doubt still crept in during quiet moments. Lucas wondered if their father had been right, if they had ruined the family. Benjamin would counter, "We didn't ruin anything. They chose fear over us." One winter night, the twins sat in their living room watching old home videos on a cracked laptop. Tears fell as they saw their younger selves laughing with parents who now felt like strangers. "Do you ever think about going back?" Lucas asked. Benjamin shook his head. "Not until we're someone they can't ignore." The years taught them self-worth. Benjamin earned a promotion. Lucas's photos began appearing in local magazines. They built chosen family with friends who celebrated pride with them, who showed up when one caught the flu or lost a job. The internal storm of shame slowly gave way to pride. They were not broken. They were becoming whole. At 28, the twins stood on firmer ground. Benjamin had climbed to account manager at the agency, his ideas praised in boardrooms. Lucas opened a small studio in Bushwick, shooting weddings and corporate events while pursuing personal projects that spoke to queer resilience. Michael had become a steady presence in Benjamin's life, the two of them moving into a brighter apartment together. Lucas found comfort in his own quiet relationship with Jordan, a fellow photographer whose gentle humor balanced Lucas's intensity. The four men often gathered for Sunday dinners, laughter filling spaces that once held only silence. Yet the past refused to stay buried. A letter arrived one day from their mother, the first contact in 10 years. She wrote of missing them, of their father's stubborn silence, of her own regret. Benjamin read it aloud to Lucas, voice steady but eyes wet. "She wants us to come for Christmas." Lucas shook his head. After everything? They debated for weeks. In the end, they sent polite refusals, explaining they had built lives that no longer fit the old rules. The decision hurt, but it also freed them. Benjamin proposed to Michael that spring in Central Park, the yes echoing under blooming trees. Lucas captured the moment on film, the image later becoming the cover of his first solo exhibition, titled Unbroken. Success brought new pressures. Benjamin faced subtle homophobia at work. Lucas dealt with clients who canceled upon learning the studio owner was gay. Each setback became fuel. They supported each other through therapy sessions where they unpacked years of internalized hate. "We didn't choose this," their counselor reminded them. "But we choose how we live it." The brothers grew closer than ever, no longer just survivors but architects of their own futures. The city that had once felt cold now felt like home. The call came on a crisp October morning when the twins were 33. Their mother's voice trembled on the line. "Your father had a stroke. The doctors, they don't know if he'll walk again. He keeps asking for you too." Benjamin and Lucas sat in stunned silence after hanging up. 15 years of silence, and now this. Anger warred with pity inside them. Michael urged Benjamin to go. Jordan reminded Lucas that closure might heal old wounds. After days of sleepless nights, they booked flights. "We're not going back as the scared kids they threw out," Benjamin said. "We're going back as the men we became." Packing felt surreal. They brought Michael and Jordan, not as shields but as proof of the lives they had built. The drive from the airport through familiar cornfields stirred memories both painful and tender. Lucas gripped the wheel tighter as they passed the old high school. Benjamin stared at the horizon, rehearsing words he had practiced for years. Their mother waited on the porch, older and smaller than they remembered, tears streaming as she pulled them into an embrace that felt both foreign and desperately needed. Inside, their father lay in a hospital bed set up in the living room, face pale but eyes sharp with recognition. Sarah, now married with a child, stood beside him, her own expression a mix of shock and quiet pride. The room crackled with unsaid years. The first conversations were careful, surface level. Their father's speech was slurred but his mind clear. "You came," he managed. Benjamin nodded. "We came." That night in their old bedrooms, the twins talked until dawn, weighing forgiveness against the scars that still ached. The return had only just begun. Tension filled the house like thick smoke. Their father stared at Michael and Jordan with undisguised confusion the first morning. "These your friends?" Benjamin met his gaze. "Partners. We're engaged. Both of us." The words landed like stones in still water. Their mother gasped softly. Sarah's eyes widened with understanding. Their father's hand trembled on the blanket. "All this time I thought you'd come to your senses." Lucas spoke calmly, voice steady from years of practice. "This is our sense. This is who we are." Days unfolded in halting revelations. Benjamin shared stories of sleepless nights in shelters, of promotions earned through grit, of the love that had carried him when family had not. Lucas showed his portfolio, photographs of queer youth finding joy, of city streets that had become their sanctuary. Their sister confessed she had suspected years ago and regretted not speaking up. Their mother admitted she had prayed every night, torn between faith and the ache of missing her sons. Their father listened, mostly silent, until one afternoon he broke. "I was scared," he whispered. "Scared the world would eat you alive. I was wrong." Tears tracked down his weathered cheeks. The brothers exchanged glances, the wall between them cracking but not yet gone. Misunderstandings surfaced too. An old letter their father had written but never sent revealed his private torment. Arguments flared and cooled. Michael and Jordan offered quiet support, modeling the healthy relationships the family had never witnessed. Slowly, the house filled with tentative conversations over coffee, shared meals, even laughter. The shock on their parents' faces when they saw the twins' bank statements, the studio lease, the engagement rings, was unmistakable. The men they had cast out had not only survived, they had thrived. On the final evening before their flight home, the family gathered around the old oak tree. Their father, now able to sit in a wheelchair, looked at his sons with new eyes. "I can't change the past," he said, voice stronger. "But I can choose different from here." Benjamin and Lucas stood side by side, the same yet forever changed. Their mother hugged Michael and Jordan, whispering thanks. Sarah's daughter toddled between them, unaware of the history but sensing the warmth. The twins drove away at dawn, hearts lighter than when they arrived. The return had not erased the pain, but it had rewritten the ending. Back in New York, life resumed with deeper peace. Benjamin and Michael planned their wedding. Lucas and Jordan exhibited together. The phone calls to Ohio now came weekly, awkward at first but growing easier. The brothers had learned that family is not only blood, it is the courage to love without conditions. Can years of rejection be forgiven when family finally sees the truth, or do some prejudices run too deep to overcome?